Hi, I'm Charles with AniCap. Previously, a boy named Wang was born with unimaginable power and decided to hide his power forever. His parents then give him an amulet and a pill to suppress his power. A demon master would then come to Earth in search of Froggy, who was supposed to conquer the Earth 10 years ago. However, an eruption of Wang's power would make the demon master disappear. The story continues as the elite class students have spiritual sword class. It is explained to them that their spiritual swords will run into problems through day-to-day experiences. They may have reduced moving speed or become dull. Inappropriate use of the sword, metal fatigue from intensive use, or even unhealthy eating habits will cause irreversible damage to the sword and the spirit in it. Zukong explains that is why regular maintenance is important, and Wang's sword spirit Jinkei points out how he has never been maintained even once since being born. Afterwards, Sunro explains that her spirit sword is recovering from an intense battle, and that they all must go to a shop for sword maintenance since their spirit swords are high level. They wonder where Wang's spirit sword is, and we see that Jinkei is an advanced spirit that is able to go for maintenance by himself. At the best shop in the city, our group finds that Lin actually works there. She explains that she was raised by a sword spirit sister, but it had disappeared one day after going to a sword shop. Since then, Lin has been working at different spiritual shops in the hopes of seeing her one day. Chen assumes that Lin hasn't bought a sword because of her missing sister, but she explains it's just because she can't afford one. Tang is there for maintenance as well and tries to bully Lin into doing it for her. Tensions rise and Sunro tries to defend her, but Lin explains that she needs the money. Later, Sunro contemplates buying Lin a sword, but Hago points out how that will hurt her self-esteem. Wang finds a forging area though, and the group decide to forge Lin a sword. They return later that night after Lin has left, and Wang reveals his plan for her sword. They assess the quality of the materials they have brought first, and Chen shows that he brought an S-class material. Hago wonders how he got it, and we see that it was taken from his father's mantle. Sunro has brought an extremely rare S+ material, which is very impressive, but we then see that Wang has brought a remnant of the defeated Demon Master. Wang says he just found it somewhere, and we see that it actually breaks the machine. The materials get tossed in the furnace, and the group realize none of them know how to operate it. Lin then returns to work the next morning, and is greeted by her friends. They reveal her new sword, and explain that she will be needing it for the upcoming spirit sword classes. Lin begins to cry, and the group think it's because they did a poor job forging. She explains it's actually because the sword is very similar to her sister, and Sunro realizes that was the reason Wang designed it that way. Tang arrives to express how ugly Lin's sword is, and Hago is quick to remind him how he was the one that destroyed Tang's sword in the competition. Tang's sword is fixed now, and he states that VVIP members of the shop can ask any employee to do a trial test of sword, and he has picked Lin. Sunro attempts to stop it, but is useless as Tang reveals that his family owns the shop. Tang's spirit sword covers the arena in ice, and he gives a demonstration of its immense power. The guys try to stop the test and explain that it's too dangerous having a trial test on someone living. Tang's attack is swift and precise, however the effects of Lin's sword are horrifically terrifying. Wang explains that Lin's sword is devouring the spiritual forces of both Tang and his spirit sword. Tang is completely hopeless as his life begins to fade just as something destroys his sword and saves him. That something was actually Wang's spirit sword. The group congratulate Lin, and Jinkei explains that his maintenance is done. However, later that night, we find that the Demon Master is still alive and instantly attacks Lin. The Demon Master is furious and wonders who was the one that transformed his Ring of Chaos into a sword. He searches Lin's memory to find Sunro and calls her the descendant of someone he hates. He vows to avenge the demon race and sets out to find her. The next day, the guys watch as a girl gives a sachet to a boy. Zukong arrives to break it all up and explains that the school is a place for training, not romance. It's autumn reunion day though, and legend says that whoever gives a sachet to someone special will get whatever they wish for. Sunro wonders how she will give her sachet with Zukong around, and Lin recommends she wait till after school. Students are not allowed to be on campus at night, but Lin reminds her that she secretly lives in the school. Beneath the school, Liu Yin uses an ability to control her sister's leftover arrow and attempts her escape. She realizes that the world's overall spiritual force value must be low, since the steel imprisoning her can now be more easily broken. In class, the guys talk about the Mirror of Moon Bridge. It is one of the 4 bizarre tales of Faction 60 and is said to be able to show your future on one specific day of the year. That day is tomorrow, and Hago explains that many supernatural things happen on that night, according to the rumors. Wang goes to his hidden stash to retrieve some crispy noodles and is tapped on the head by Sunro. This was actually a secret message, and the guys figure out that she wants Wang to meet her at the back door of the campus at midnight. Sunro is ecstatic to see that Wang understood her message, but disappointed to find out that he brought the boys. Chen explains that they're there in case something supernatural happens, and she pretends to not be bothered. Chen is scared by a stray cat and tries to redeem himself by leading the group. He is then frightened once again by Lin, and she explains she will be their guide. The ground shakes though, and we see that Lu Yin has finally freed herself from the cage. The group is terrified to hear her maniacal laughing, and she must now find out how to escape the prison. The guys are in the bathroom and determine that the laugh probably wasn't supernatural. Lu Yin travels through the sewer system though, and the guys are scared once again. Hago investigates the strange noises, and they are both pushed back by a flow of water. Wang then arrives to investigate and sends Lu Yin back down the toilet. She ends up at Zukong's hideout and finds that there is an elevator. Sunro wonders what happened, and Wang tells her that they must have slipped from a leak in one of the toilets. They should recover soon, but Lin explains that they should explore in the meantime, and Sunro realizes it's the perfect time to have Wang alone. Jinkei explains that Lu Yin has escaped again, and Wang heads out to find her. Lu Yin wonders if she should eliminate Yi or her sister first, but settles on going after Sunro. She vows to eliminate anyone that disrespects her, but Wang appears to send her through the elevator floor. Lin then leaves Sunro alone with Wang. We see that Wang and Jinkei are well aware that this Ling is actually a demon, and it isn't actually trying to help Sunro. The Demon Master reveals his plans to take Sunro to the demon world, and explains that her ancestor killed so many members of the demon race. He plans to make the Sunro family pay by taking Sunro, and we see that Lu Yin has made it outside where she spots her target. The pair finally arrive at the Mirror of Moon Bridge, and Sunro explains how a legend says that it has the magic of transcending space. Their futures will supposedly be reflected in the mirror after midnight, and Sunro prepares to give him her sachet. Wang is struck by Lin though, and Sunro is captured by the Demon Master. Lu Yin stands atop the school and watches in amazement as the moon is engulfed. The Demon Master explains that the legend of the mirror is true, and he will use it to open the portal to the demon world. He does, and welcomes Sunro to the demon world. Just then, Lu Yin appears and claims that Sunro is hers. Wang springs into action immediately though, saving her and vowing not to let her die again. Lu Yin's strike ends up sending the Demon Master back to the demon world, and Wang punches Lu Yin right in the face. Sunro then talks in her sleep about giving her sachet to Wang, and he states that he has it now. Days later, Chen watches a live stream of the very popular Fairy Fox. Chen has sent her a gift, and she is confused since it's medicine. Chen reminds Fairy Fox of her sick master in the hospital, and she thanks him for the gift by offering to have a voice chat with him. At the space station, Yi speaks with the top predecessors of the human race. He explains that the total spiritual force value of the Earth has dropped to 4.7, and the shell of the human world has become fragile. Several demon spies that have come through the spatial crack have been detected. One of the predecessors thinks the demons are planning to start a war and thinks the humans should initiate first. An argument ensues, but is stopped when the most powerful and respected among them speaks. He states that they should simply capture a demon and question it. This highly regarded predecessor of the human race leaves, and we see that it was actually Wang speaking. Outside, the guys find that Chen is being punished by his father for dropping to the foundation phase in his development. Chen explains that he was always taught to help those in need, and recently found a fellow practitioner on a live stream. She streams to raise money to save her sick master, and Chen has been giving her spiritual energy as gifts. Chen's father respects his decision since he was helping someone, but then hears the Fairy Fox thank Chen for his latest gift. It is their family's Tongue of the Heavenly Hound, and it has earned Chen another voice chat with the Fairy Fox. However, Chen's father is furious and warns him to never watch another livestream again, or he will punish him in accordance with the family law. Later, the group discuss how new technology allows spiritual energy to be transmitted over the internet. Lin thinks it's witchcraft though, and explains that in ancient times, demons would transform into beauties to seduce passers-by. The victim's essence would be sucked up gradually, leaving their bodies weak and disabled. Hago is not concerned though, since Chen's phone has been destroyed, but they hear him having a blast nearby. Chen is in the computer lab watching Fairy Fox's livestream, and Lin explains how to interrupt the witchcraft. Someone must enter cyberspace as a metaspirit, find the demon's livestream, and interrupt the spell. Becoming a metaspirit requires an extremely powerful person, and the most powerful people can even take their physical body into cyberspace. Hago wants to avoid all that and just blow her stream room up instead. He attempts to use a Trojan horse to carry out his plan, but Fairy Fox detects and eliminates it. Hago cries over his loyal horse's demise, and the very frail Chen becomes excited for his voice chat with the fairy fox to begin. Wang reminds Sunro of the art of seduction spell she used on Chen in the past, and decides to do it again. Sunro gives Chen a soda, and when asked by Fairy Fox, Chen denies knowing Sunro at all. Chen accepts her gift, and Sunro activates the spell. Fairy Fox is notified about losing control over Chen, and Sunro instructs him to go home. Fairy Fox then uses a bit of charm and manipulation to fight back. Sunro attempts to get Chen's attention, but it's too late, he has already fallen back into the trap. Fairy Fox explains that she has almost taken enough spiritual energy to recover her master's physical body, and we see that it's actually the Demon Master. All hope seems to be lost as Chen is now gifting harder than ever. Just then, Chen's father arrives and states that he will finally put an end to his son's temptations. With the monitor destroyed, Chen defies his father even more, and states that he will be going to another dimension. Chen plugs himself in and begins to convert himself into a metaspirit. This shocks everyone, as only the most powerful Spirit Force users can do it. Fairy Fox has gained all the Spirit Force she needs and finally removes her disguise. Chen arrives in her streaming room and finds that everything is a lie. Fairy Fox has turned off beauty mode, and Chen's father desperately tries to resuscitate his son. Sunro points out that it's useless since Chen is online, so he simply tries to reconnect him. Wang asks Hago for the website address, and we see that Chen's attempts at attacking the demon fail, since metaspirits can't touch physical bodies. Fairy Fox then begins to capture Chen for his spirit force, and realizes that she should take Sunro while she's at it. Chen is about to lose his grip when a fist comes through the screen. The demon is knocked back, and Wang pulls Chen back to them. Later, Wang watches the news and hears that the streamer's room was invaded, but the culprit is still at large. Further news catches Wang's attention as it explains that Sunro's family has outstanding debt that they can't pay off, and is announcing bankruptcy. Thanks for watching part 7, 10,000 likes and I'll make a part 8.